Continuing the tributes to MF Doom that we've gotten over the past week, we've got a new track from Lice, which is Aesop Rock and Homeboy Sandman, titled Ask Anyone. This track uses the Potholders beat from Food, and it's a bit different from the other tracks that we've gotten from them in the past, in the sense that it's a little bit less metaphorical and more raw, which makes a lot of sense because they were pretty close to Doom as a person, and obviously in the music sense. But you know what time it is. We're going to go bar for bar and break down these lyrics. So Ace starts off the track. Roses for the OG MF. Where were you when Bob dropped the OG dead bent? I was over Tony's on some what was that, no was that. Yes, it's Zev Love X sounding reckless. I took it to the head and the heart. Roses to the OG MF Doom. Rest in peace. But also, giving him his flowers. Where were you when they dropped Dead Bent? The video, I'm assuming, but also just the track. And he's telling you, yo, I was at Tony's. Tony, who we can assume is Blockhead, and has been friends with both of them forever. And I guess during that track, he's like, yo, no, the Zev? Because again, they've known each other for a while too. Ace was aware of Zev before Doom came about, basically. And then him taking it to the head and the heart is him just kind of analyzing the lyrics and taking what he was saying, because this was different from Zev Love X. MF Doom is the more aggressive persona and less, I guess, positive, you could say. But yeah, he took it to the head and the heart, being he was processing it in his head, but he also took it to heart, whatever he was saying. But this also can be talking about his passing, Doom's passing. He took it to the heart. He felt some sort of way, obviously. You were back as metal-faced and threatening my pearl white Acura from the second bar, barfing up a masterclass in charismatic disrespect and trash talk on mask on mac and cheese Timberlands. Sold the first Appleseed CDs at your brownie show. He came back as metal-faced after his hiatus from rap between 93 and 99. The pearl white Acura is straight up from Dead Bent. That is literally the second bar in the track. And they just been rapping a masterclass in charismatic disrespect. How can you be so disrespectful and still sound so clean and nice? And then in the video, yeah, he was wearing those Timberlands, the yellow Timberlands. And then he's talking about how at one of his shows, MF Doom's shows, Ace was just slanging CDs, because Appleseed was one of his first albums that he was promoting fully independently way back in the day. While you were saying something to remember like the Alamo, I was yelling every word and never late. And when you finally played Hey, I felt the venue levitate. Ask anyone LI to upstate. Something to remember like the Alamo is straight up from Rhymes Like Dimes. Something to remember like the Alamo, Tally-ho, a Joker in a Spades game, came back from 5 years lane and stayed the same, saying something like that. But yeah, he was in the crowd and he's yelling every word alongside Doom, because that's how Ace was a fan, basically. That's basically what he's getting at here. And when he finally played Hey, the track Hey, the whole venue levitated. Everyone just got hella hype. Come to learn it's only phase one of the floodgates. Doom stay gluing true grit to the baseline and made himself a hero and a villain at the same time. Back in 94, you had that line about the Nikes on the wire. Phase one of the floodgates. This is the beginning. That was just the beginning. So obviously Doom had way more that came out after this, and this was just phase one, basically. And it could also be phase one of Ace's fanness or fandom of Doom. He basically made himself a villain and a hero and a villain at the same time, meaning he was a villain because that's the character that he portrayed, but he was also a hero to a lot of independent rappers out there who just, needed someone to be a role model for them. And Doom was that, because he was not afraid to just be fuck it, I'm gonna just do whatever I want. This is the music I'm making, deal with it. Back in 94, he had that line about Nikes on the wire. I don't remember that song, but back in 94, that's probably just after KMD stuff. I'll have to look that up. I'd always see these Nikes on the wire when I was driving through a neighborhood somebody said you stayed in, convinced I had found the actual inspiration. For the record, I was not even close to the right neighborhood. Even when the heart is pure, the brain is mush. So yeah, following up that Nike line from the line prior, he's just yo, every time I saw Nikes on the wire, I was convinced that this was your neighborhood, even though I was nowhere near where you actually lived. That he wanted to, he was seeking out the like Doom's inspiration and where he came up from, because 94, like I said, was before Operation Doomsday, which dropped in 99. So that's kind of like the beginnings of Doom. Like, it's almost like you're paying tribute and going back to where it all started for him. Even when the heart is pure, the brain is mush, sounds like a Doom line. I don't remember if that's actually from a Doom song or not, but yeah, even when your heart is pure, the brain is mush. Like, you have the right intentions, but you can't put it into words, like what you're trying to do. Or you just do silly things because you're trying to do the right thing. Thank you for the stories and the fuck you to the normies. Bruin said we lost our Jordan. I would sprinkle some Voorhees and agree. Breeze, I have this memory of me and you rapping meat grinder to each other at a BBQ and BK. Basically, he's just thanking Doom for everything he's done, all the stories that he's created. Whether that be in the music or just through conversations that they had with each other, because they conversed every so often. People after he passed away were like, yo, we just lost our Jordan, like in the underground for sure. But Ace is like, no, we'll sprinkle some Voorhees in there because he's a villain. Oh, also going back to that Nike line, if anyone remembers, he had those MF Doom dunks that came out back in, I think, like 2008 or something. Those are pretty dope. Got the same memory with a couple other people too, trading Doom lines. That's what people do. You were always kind to me in person. I tried to play it cool, but I was always kind of nervous. Yeah, that's kind of what people do with Doom lines. Like, once you find out that someone's a Doom fan, like, you don't stop quoting Doom lines. I remember in high school that's mostly what I would do when me and my friend, like, really just got into Doom. Actually, he introduced me to Doom, and I was the one just kind of quoting everything after the fact. But yeah, that's just what people do. Like, and that's not even just like a Doom specific thing. That's the thing that people do with hip hop in general. Like, it's, if you have dope bars, people are going to be reciting them back to back, or trading bars basically. 30 Summers, a guide in the muddy waters. To the man with the many names, I hope you're somewhere with your brother. I think he's just talking about how long Doom's been around in terms of music, from his Zev Love X days to now. To the man with many names, Zev Love X, MF Doom, Victor Von, King Ghidorah, Mad Villain, Doom. He just hopes he's with his brother, Aesop Rock. This then goes into Sandman's verse. Supervillain though, illin though, chopping records that my parents listened to. Doom was on a mission to remind you that the magic is what matters. Intro bars, I mean, supervillain, Doom was a supervillain. Illin though, kind of a play on the illest villains, the intro to Mad Villainy. And then he used to chop up records that his parents listened to. I mean, Doom is a producer. Like, people forget that he wasn't just a rapper, he was a producer. So he went, or a beat maker, let's say. And with that, he obviously sampled a bunch of records. And Doom was on a mission to remind you that magic is what matters, which, yeah, no, Doom, like I mentioned already, represented a lot for people in hip-hop. Like, it's not really the appearance, it's the music that matters the most. But where'd he find that banter? Where'd he find them patterns? He ain't had no manners. My favorite villain is the drop-off Victor Von. Where'd he find that banter? I think it's him, like, in Doom's music, he has a lot of cuts to old cartoons and radio shows. So he's like, yo, where did you even find that clip? How'd you find that, and why does it work so well? And then where'd he find them patterns? Like, in the beat, but also in his rhyme style. Like, yo, where did you get that rhyme pattern from? Like, what the... Doom was just one of those guys that people are just like, what the hell, bro? And then he ain't had no manners is just him just being disrespectful with the mic. Like Ace already talked about, he had a crash course on trash talk. But every time I hear the Great Day intro, I'ma sing along. And cats be sleeping on the GMOs, them lessons on point. We share a brother in Curie from the question mark joint. Supervillain in the function, then his people's never far. Yeah, every time he hears the Great Day intro, he's gonna sing along. And Cats Be Sleeping on the GMOs, which was another track from Victor Von, I believe, actually, on Vaudeville Villain. It's funny because, like, Doom just be talking about things that people don't know about. So he just threw it out there. He's like, yeah, here's these GMOs that you should be worried about, or concerned about. Doom and Homeboy Sandman are close friends with Curious from the question mark joint. When he's in the function, his people are never far. People who know him, people who are fans of him, and just his people. Thanks for introducing us to John Robinson and Star, and an era full of rarefied jewels, and making use of airtime for making bad hairlines cool. Being crazy takes guts. John Robinson, I believe, is a serial killer, and then Star was the singer. So he, like, Doom introduced people to just random things like this. And an era full of rarefied jewels could be, well, I mean, one, he could be talking about the jewel in his helmet, but also just his music. They're just rare jewels that not a lot of people paid attention to at the time of release. And making use of airtime for making bad hairlines cool. Doom had a pretty bad hairline, which is why he usually shaved his head. But in some videos, you can see his hair just hella far back. But again, it didn't matter to him. Appearances weren't important. It was just the dude behind the mask. And basically, like, again, like, letting people feel that they can be whoever they want and still rap and be successful. Monster Island Czars had a rep for being nuts. Extra special words, scent of special herbs that still linger. My pantheon is Bird and Mingus, Prince and Metal Fingers. So Monster Island Czars was this group that MF Doom made, or it wasn't even a real group at all times. I think they just did one collaborative album. But it was just a bunch of people that Doom worked with that all took on personas of these monsters from the Godzilla universe. For some reason, the only one that I can remember right now is Jet Jaguar, who was MF Grimm. Larger than life, he had his own Nikes. I'm a clear water brand dude, but dag Doom. Food was an anagram. Fresh put me on, I proceed to put anyone that was Famalam. Yeah, like I mentioned already, Doom did have his own Nikes, those dunks, which are hella dope. And yeah, he was just putting people on that anyone who's fam to him, like people in his circle, he'd be putting Doom on for him. And every particle, genuine article. Okay, he stiffed a few promoters who thought they booked the man under the mask, but they could never tell for certain. Walking the walk while talking in third person. This is basically just in reference to the Doom posters that Doom would often enlist for his shows. Mostly because Doom wouldn't want to perform, but also because he's mentioned so many times, it's not about the person performing it, it's the music. So who cares who's out there? I don't really agree with that, but it makes sense for him to say something like that. And then yeah, oftentimes he would talk in third person because Doom was a character. It wasn't Daniel Dumoulin, it was a character that he created basically. He wore a mask so the charge won't grab on a rooftop with a large stone slab, seen where the industry was going and had the gonads to go nah. He wore a mask so the charge won't grab is a line from Gazillionaire, off of Born Like This, the last solo Doom project actually. But yeah, he would wear a mask so the charge won't grab because no one would know for certain who's under the mask. Like if you keep wearing a mask, no one's gonna know your identity. Which is why like people at Doom shows wouldn't always know if it was an imposter or not. They would just be like, there's a dude in a mask. Don't know if that's actually Doom or not. And then he saw where the industry was going and he was like, nah. Basically, around the time that Doom, really just throughout his career actually, he would see what the industry was doing and just kind of go, nope, and just veer left. Like, he wouldn't do anything that was normal, you could say. Like, nothing that the industry would deem normal. Nothing that would gain him excess popularity. Like, he was just kind of doing his own thing. Thanks. A bar is not a measure of music Doom was doing. It's a unit, a buried treasure. No one ever done it better, so I'm gonna keep my computer on caps lock forever. You can't measure Doom's greatness by a single bar. Like, there's too much to him. A bar is not a measure of music that Doom was doing. It's a unit of buried treasure. Basically saying, like, normally, when you're thinking of music, when you're, like, writing music, you go in bars to kind of, like, pace yourself. But, so it's like a unit of measure. But for Doom, a bar, like, well, people listening to Doom more so, a bar is a unit of buried treasure. Like, there's so much in just one single bar that people just have to uncover, basically. So I'm gonna keep my computer on caps lock forever. Remember all caps when you spell the man name. Yeah, no, this was a dope song, and you can really tell where these guys are coming from. It's not an easy thing when someone that you looked up to and someone that was a pretty big role model in the underground passes. Doom was different, and it's still hard to believe he's gone, but the supervillain will live forever. I did like this track though. It, like I said, they do get a bit more raw than what is normally expected from these guys. It's very personal, and it's not just kind of veiled in metaphor, because, you know, like I just mentioned on Ace's reviews that I've done, he's a very dense lyrical guy, so trying to decipher what he's saying, it's not the easiest thing to do, especially because most of the time it's about him, but he covers it up so well that it's just like, why? So having him rap so candidly is definitely a departure, and that says a lot. Yeah, no, and both of them did a great job. No one of them did better than the other, honestly. They both did a solid job, and I don't think it was meant to be like a competition. It was really just like a tribute, like I said at the beginning of all this. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if I missed anything or misinterpreted anything with these lyrics. Also, like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this and other breakdowns. Also, be sure to subscribe if you want to check out the Book of Doom, which will begin Saturday, January 9th, which is tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.